What we are celebrating today is a journey that we have undertaken to make sure that no son of any mother has to undertake such perilous journey to get much needed health care to the parents. Comprehensive care with a commitment to quality, continuity of that care to a defined community, closer to the doorstep of the people with active community participation, has been the vision for the development of this ICARE model. Since the inception of the LV Prasad Eye Institute 31 years ago, we were very clear. Nobody coming to any of our campuses, whether it's the primary care vision center or this campus, shall be denied care, whether they pay or don't pay, irrespective of the complexity of the problem or the cost of care. And we've been fortunate that we've been able to live up to that promise that we made 31 years ago. It all started actually 25 years ago with an experimental vision center in the urban slums of the city of Hyderabad. And then we got an opportunity to really go out into the rural areas thanks to a friend, Sri Gullapalli Ramarao Garu, in the coastal part of Andhra Pradesh, who requested us to help in the development of a secondary level center, at which time we had no experience in that at all. And we gave our 150% for that. And that experience has led to the evolution of the entire network further. With our own center developed in the poorest and the remotest district of Andhra Pradesh at that time, in a village called Mudol, with a population of 2,000 people at that time. Last year, Mudol, we saw 35,000 outpatients, 4,500 plus surgeries, 62% of the surgeries done at no cost to the patient, with 105% cost recovery for operating expenses. That entire district is fully covered with community-based rehabilitation. Over 80% of all the people with low vision and irreversible blindness have been rehabilitated. We did a complete children's eye health survey in that district too. So indeed it is a model district today. Further on, with help from Hugh Taylor and his group, we have undertaken a major epidemiologic survey when everybody discouraged me, let me tell you. Everybody said, in India, why do you want to undertake such an expensive exercise? But we went ahead and did this Andhra Pradesh IDC study. And out of that actually has evolved the present day pyramid and ICARE. And the roots of ICARE started when Alan Foster and I were traveling to visit some of the CBM hospitals around that time throughout the state of Andhra Pradesh. And in the train, we started discussing how to coordinate all our efforts in rural eye health. And out of that came the building today's GPR ICARE. Alan Foster took the idea to two of his friends, Christian Gomes and Richard Porter, who were heading CBM and Sight Savers respectively at that time, and they readily agreed to fund the center. Dr. Pararajasekaram, Claire Gilbert, and Sajid Resnikov have given us so much support in training, guiding, and developing the entire community eye health system of our institute. So today we are celebrating the creation of that center. the center that has led to the development of this pyramid, providing from simple screening in the remote rural communities to the care of the most complex problems on this campus and 3 other tertiary care campuses in 3 states of India. A care that is available to all people, appropriate to that level of care, affordable and accessible. At the very bottom of the pyramid, we focus on a population unit of 5,000 people, with what we call vision guardians. They help us essentially for health promotion and keep a surveillance on the population of 5,000 so that post-operative follow-up and also the attention to the 2 vulnerable age groups, the geriatric and the pediatric group. Here is an example of a door-to-door survey in the remote rural areas and the school screening programs in every area that we go in. Completes, every school is covered. And more recently, we started using our new technology of folding for Opta, and I believe each of you are given a sample of that this morning. This led to the evolution about 26 years ago of taking our vision center model into the remote, rural, and tribal areas where there is no semblance of eye care. 100% of the service here is provided free of cost. The idea is anybody from the village should be able to walk off the street and get their eye screened free of cost. With the development of technology and addition of technology, we are able to do a lot more these days. This is a system of universal access for remote communities. There is no requirement of an ophthalmologist. They are essentially a 1-year trained technician providing primary care, high quality, and is part of a sustainable system. 10 such centers are then linked to secondary level rural eye centers. I give you examples of 2 here. The one on the top is the oldest, the 21-year-old. The one at the bottom is one of the recent ones. The difference is the recent ones are getting gifted by the corporate sector of India, and the chairman of that particular corporation wanted that building to be beautiful. So he spent about double the money that we would normally spend for a secondary center. So that's the kind of thing that is happening, involvement of the community to fund these centers. And again, technology is making so many things possible. The technology of drone slit lamp developed by Jean-Marie Perel at the Bascom Palmer Eye Institute has been transported to us, and he transferred the technology. And by using that to be able to remotely examine the patients of complex problems where the comprehensive ophthalmologist at the secondary center has any kind of doubt. We more recently, about 2 years ago, have begun to take even corneal transplantation into the rural areas. How is that possible? That's because of the commitment of our tertiary care faculty to be able to travel there every month to perform the procedures. And we have a optimal infrastructure there in those secondary centers. And the surgery is done by the cornea specialist, and the cornea is provided by our eye bank. We are fortunate to have the biggest eye bank in Asia here. We harvested, for example, last year over 9,000 corneas. The surgery and then the follow-up is provided by our comprehensive ophthalmologist. So it's a question of creating that system, taking everything as close to the people who need it most as possible. Same thing is happening in other areas of complex eye care problems. So together, a secondary center with 10 vision centers and 100 vision guardians, we call it a village vision complex that takes care of a lot of activity within that 500,000 population around our secondary centers. We now have 18 such centers. They are then linked to our tertiary training centers, where we begin to get into active training, both residency, fellowships, and paramedical training. And these are some of the photographs of our tertiary centers, and at the very top, we call this Center of Excellence. We do everything that's done by any leading eye center anywhere in the world. So to this, more recently, we have added technology, and that's making things much better. And we are hoping with the leveraging of the technology, we will have broader coverage, deeper coverage, and better coverage. Functionally, we have these 10 segments today at the LVP. And it is the integration and interdigitation of these 10 segments, functional segments, that make everything happen in our network. And we are very, very grateful to many people who have shared their talent, their time, and a treasure. Partnerships, private philanthropy, corporate philanthropy, international grants, and of course the internal generation of revenue from our paying patients who very often were so willing to cross-subsidize the non-paying patients. That is the story until now of the Gullapalli Pratibha Rao International Center for Advancement of Rural Eye Care. Thank you so much.